Now, you don't ever threaten us, ever. Do you understand that? Who do you think you are coming into my store? Threatening my son's life? That's when we took control and held this guy down? The sad story of Les Gold from Hardcore Pawn isn't just about success and fame. It's about betrayal, heartbreak, and shocking twists. From his early days to building his business with American Jewelry and Loan, his life was full of big dreams and hard work. But even being famous couldn't protect him from personal and work problems. Stay tuned as we tell the real story behind his rise and fall and show the shocking moment that changed their business forever. Lessons from Detroit's young dealer. Les Gold didn't accidentally get into the pawn business, he was born into it. By the time he was old enough to understand money, the young business owner had already made his first sale. Imagine being only 7 years old and already making money. That's how early this future businessman got started selling in his grandfather's shop, Sam's Loans, on Michigan Avenue in Detroit. He learned everything about the business there, learning how to bargain and handle all kinds of deals. In that shop, surrounded by leather and brass, he saw a dark secret he kept for years until fate showed it. Sam's Loans later turned into something completely different, a pawn-themed restaurant called Gold Cash Gold. That business didn't last forever, though, closing its doors 6 years after opening. But the determined dealer had bigger things on his mind than themed restaurants by age 12. He was already showing his business smarts, while other kids were just worrying about recess. I don't know if we did it, I don't know if he did it, I don't know if he really bought it from us, but because he was so angry he had to go, he was buying whole pizzas, cutting them up and selling them at school to make money. That kind of thinking set the stage for his future. The Detroit native officially started in the game in 1978, when he opened American Jewelry and Loan in a shopping center on 8 Mile Road. Fast forward to the early 1990s, and he moved to Greenfield Road, still near 8 Mile. It wasn't just a small upgrade either. He took over a 50,000 square foot building that used to be a bowling alley. Over time, the shop grew into a huge operation with 5 locations and over 1,000 customers walking through its doors every day. The experienced pawnshop owner didn't do it alone, though. His wife, Lily, whom he married in 1975, and his 2 kids, Ashley and Seth, became part of the business. Seth, a University of Michigan graduate, took charge of marketing and brought in new ideas. He even joked that without him, the store would still be using ads in the Yellow Pages. Meanwhile, Ashley, armed with a business degree and a Diamond Expert certification, also became a co-owner and worked in the family business for over 15 years. American Jewelry and Loan wasn't just a local hit, it got national attention. They started running commercials during daytime television, including The Jerry Springer Show. This caught the eye of Richard Dominic, Springer's former producer. After leaving Springer, Dominic came to the owner about turning his pawn shop into a reality show. And that's the hardest thing to train my employees, my children, is take the emotion out of it when you're buying it. Bring in the emotion when you're selling it, the smart businessman agreed. That's how Hardcore Pawn was born. The show, which gave viewers a look into the chaos and drama of a Detroit pawn shop, first aired in December 2009. It didn't take long for the show to become a hit. Bringing in millions of viewers, the family trio ran the show literally and in every way, handling everything from rowdy customers to weird items brought in to Pawn.Hardcore. Pawn wasn't without its problems. Some people couldn't help but notice how similar it was to another pawn-based reality show, Pawn Stars, which aired earlier in 2009. Critics said the show's creator copied the idea, but he defended his show, claiming it was more real and raw compared to the polished look of Pawn Stars. Hardcore Pawn was about real people, real struggles, and real deals, the head of the family argued. Despite the criticism, the show did great. It became a main show on True TV, with viewers tuning in to see what wild item or crazy customer would show up next. From cannons to homemade stripper poles, the show had it all. One episode even featured 2 horses walking through the showroom. Success wasn't without problems inside the family, though. One of the biggest on-screen dramas happened when Seth tried to sell the Pontiac location behind the founder's back. The father was furious when he found out, and tensions between father and son were very high. Fans thought Seth might be kicked off the show, but the problem was eventually fixed, even if it wasn't forgotten. Things didn't go as smoothly with longtime store manager Rich, Rich had been with the shop's owner for over 25 years, but their relationship went bad after a disagreement on the show. Although Rich apologized, he was eventually pushed out, making fans wonder what happened. Some thought Rich was removed because he was becoming too popular, stealing attention from the Gold family. They wanted to stop by, and they looked at the situation of all my customers. They saw that we have 40,000 items in the back, so there's 40,000 stories, and I have a very unique family. Bobby Johns, another employee, later shared that Rich's priorities changed once the cameras started rolling. He spent more time taking pictures with fans than actually working. Eventually, Bobby started appearing more on the show while Rich's presence faded. According to Bobby, Rich's wife even caused trouble by posting rude comments about him on social media. The senior pawnshop owner and Seth had to step in, and Rich was eventually let go. Despite the drama, Hardcore Pawn continued to bring in viewers. By the 6th season, the show was averaging 2.5 million viewers per episode. At its peak in 2013, viewership went over 3 million. Celebrities even made appearances like Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, who stopped by the shop. One of the more famous moments came when the business owner bought the van used by Dr. Death Jack Kevorkian. The van, which was connected to over 100 suicides, was bought for $20,000. He later sold it for a modest $5,000 profit, claiming it took up too much space. Fans thought the purchase was a bit creepy, but it was just another example of his unique approach to business. Running a pawn shop isn't without its risks. Over the years, there were incidents of theft and betrayal. One memorable episode showed the moment when the experienced dealer discovered that Joe, a trusted security guard, had been stealing from the shop. Bobby later confirmed that what viewers saw on the show was real, adding that working there felt like being part of a family even when things got tough. The Detroit businessman's reputation went beyond the pawn shop. In 2013, he published an autobiography, For What It's Worth, Business Wisdom from a Pawnbroker. The book offered insights into his life and business ideas. It became a bestseller, ranking 4th on the New York Times list in the advice and how-to category. The show's success led to spin-offs, including Combat Pawn, which focused on a gun shop near a military base, and Hardcore Pawn Chicago, featuring a pawn shop run by two brothers in Chicago. It's not good, you know what this means. Yeah, really. It's a big problem. So here's what I want you to do. Get your staff together. Tell them the goal of today is sell, sell, and sell. Despite the popularity of these spin-offs, True TV eventually shifted its focus to comedy programming, and Hardcore Pawn was not renewed after its 9th season in 2014. Even after the cameras stopped rolling, the Gold family continued to run American Jewelry and Loan. By then, they had built a small fortune with an estimated net worth of over $5 million. They also gave back to the community, supporting future entrepreneurs in Detroit and donating to local charities. In 2023, a rumor about the pawn shop owner's death went viral after a TikTok video falsely claimed he had passed away. The rumor was quickly proven false when Seth posted a video with his father proving he was alive and well. The tough businessman even took the opportunity to thank everyone for their concern. Over the years, this Detroit icon has seen it all, from pizza slicing school days to running a multi-million-dollar pawn empire. Through the ups and downs, he's remained a fixture in the city's business scene, known for sharp deals, a no-nonsense attitude, and the occasional bit of controversy. Hardcore Pawn may have ended, but his legacy in the pawn world is far from over. Expanding the business and managing family relationships have always been a delicate balance for the head of American Jewelry and Loan, including his wife and children, ensured that the business remained a family affair. Each member had a role to play, and despite occasional conflicts, they worked together to keep the operation running smoothly. This family dynamic added an extra layer of interest for viewers who tuned in not only to see what was being pawned, but also to watch the family. Relationships unfold. The decision to include his children in the business was smart. He recognized early on that Seth and Ashley had different strengths that could benefit American Jewelry and Loan. Seth's marketing skills brought in new customers, while Ashley's expertise in business administration and gem knowledge ensured that the store maintained high standards. This teamwork helped the shop thrive even as fame and scrutiny grew. Despite the occasional controversies and challenges, the founder continued to expand his business empire. By the time Hardcore Pawn ended, American Jewelry and Loan had become a well-known name in the pawn industry. His ability to adapt to changing market conditions and willingness to embrace new opportunities ensured continued success. In addition to running his pawn shop, the Detroit businessman became a sought-after speaker and mentor. He frequently shared insights on business and entrepreneurship, offering advice to aspiring entrepreneurs. His autobiography further cemented his reputation as a business leader, providing readers with practical tips and lessons from years in the pawn industry. What really happens when fame and family collide in a business as unpredictable as pawnbroking? When ratings drop and tempers flare, Hardcore Pawn was one of those reality television shows that people either loved or loved to hate. It brought a front-row view of the chaotic life inside a Detroit pawn shop, American Jewelry and Loan, where drama, shouting matches, and bizarre items rolled in daily. The series ran for about 6 years, spanning 9 seasons before suddenly going off air. Naturally, fans started wondering what went wrong. Was it all about dropping ratings behind the scenes, chaos, or something juicier? The show's debut in August 2010 was a hit right off the bat. It drew in about 2 million viewers during its first episode, making it the most-watched premiere on True TV at the time. By 2013, the show had a solid fan base with over 3 million steady viewers, yet despite its popularity, everything came to a grinding halt. Wondering what could have possibly led to the sudden cancellation, the pawn shop owner wasn't just some random guy running a business. The shop was a family affair, with his son Seth and daughter Ashley helping run the business. Seth handled marketing while Ashley managed the jewelry department. Throw in some heated sibling rivalry, and you had all the ingredients for must-watch television. Behind the scenes, though, things weren't always as smooth as they appeared. One of the standout moments on Hardcore Pawn involved Rich Pyle, a longtime store manager and fan favorite. Rich, known for his wild hair and easygoing humor, worked at the shop for over 2 decades before the cameras showed up. He became a beloved part of the show's cast until he was suddenly fired. The shop owner claimed that Rich wasn't doing his job properly, pointing to a moment when Rich left his post during business hours. That little slip-up, combined with what the boss described as a history of warnings, led to Rich's sudden dismissal. Rich didn't leave quietly. He argued with the manager, pointing out his years of loyal service and questioning whether the punishment fit the crime. Fans were shocked, and many took to social media demanding answers. My question is, why wouldn't he file a police report if his laptop was stolen? It doesn't make any sense, maybe. He wants to see the security tapes because he doesn't think we have them. Former employee Bobby Johns later revealed through TikTok that Rich had actually been on probation before he got the boot. According to Bobby, tensions had been building for a while, and Rich's behavior, including focusing more on being a television personality than doing his job, didn't help his case. Adding fuel to the fire, Bobby mentioned that Rich's wife had posted negative comments about him online. Apparently, the shop's management wasn't thrilled about this, which only made the situation worse. Things hit a boiling point when Rich reportedly made a costly mistake by letting a customer leave with valuable gold jewelry without proper verification. That, combined with complaints from both customers and staff, sealed his fate. Rumors swirled that Rich was also involved in financial misconduct. Some claimed he had been taking company funds for personal use and faking records to cover his tracks. Whether true or not, these accusations added another layer to the drama surrounding his departure. But as the shop's doors stayed open, so did the floodgates of new challenges and rivalries, scandals, suspensions, and sibling spats. While Richie's exit was a major plot twist, it wasn't the only scandal to rock the show. The pawn shop owner had a reputation for being a tough boss, and his no-nonsense attitude often put him at odds with his employees. One memorable incident involved an employee named Tony who got suspended after using offensive language toward a female coworker. The boss confronted Tony about the incident, and after some back and forth, Tony admitted to his mistake. Despite the apology, he suspended Tony, showing that disrespect in the workplace wouldn't be tolerated. He also had high standards when it came to customer service. Mystery shoppers were regularly brought in to evaluate how well employees treated customers. One such evaluation revealed that even family members like Seth and Ashley weren't immune to criticism. He pointed out instances where they could have done better, emphasizing the importance of keeping customers happy. In contrast, Karen, their cousin, often earned praise for her professionalism, which didn't sit well with Ashley. The tension between Ashley and Karen was obvious throughout the series, with Ashley frequently undermining Karen in front of customers. Ashley's rivalry with Karen wasn't the only family feud on display. Her relationship with Seth was equally strained. Despite their differences, they managed to keep the shop running smoothly, at least most of the time. Speculation about why the show ended ran wild. Some believed it had to do with the family dynamics, suggesting that the constant tension between the owner, Ashley, and Seth made it difficult to continue. Others thought the declining ratings were to blame, pointing out that viewership dropped after Rich left. Another theory suggested that TrueTV simply wanted to shift its focus to comedy programming, leaving little room for reality shows like Hardcore Pawn. Meanwhile, comparisons to another pawnshop-themed show, Pawn Stars, didn't help. Many accused Hardcore Pawn of being a knockoff, even though the owner insisted that his show was more authentic. Unlike Pawn Stars, which focused on rare and historical items, Hardcore Pawn highlighted the gritty, everyday transactions of a real pawn shop. He often defended the show, saying it portrayed the struggles of ordinary people trying to make ends meet. Despite its sudden end, Hardcore Pawn didn't completely disappear from the public consciousness. Spin-offs like Combat Pawn and Hardcore Pawn Chicago tried to capture some of its magic, but never quite reached the same level of success. Rich, meanwhile, went on to host a show on the National Geographic Channel called Meltdown, which focused on recycling precious metals. Although the show only lasted one season, it allowed Rich to stay in the spotlight for a bit longer. The businessman, along with Seth and Ashley, continued to run American Jewelry and Loan after the cameras stopped rolling. He even wrote an autobiography titled For What It's Worth, sharing insights from his decades in the pawn business. Seth received recognition for his work, earning awards like the Pawnbroker of the Year award. He also launched initiatives to help people with disabilities find employment, showing that he was more than just a savvy businessman. Ashley, on the other hand, decided to branch out on her own. She left the family business to start Pawnchick Shopping, an online and physical jewelry store. Her entrepreneurial spirit paid off, and she built a loyal customer base. Today, she has tens of thousands of followers on social media and continues to grow her brand. Is family truly the best business partner, or does it ultimately create more challenges than it solves? Share your thoughts below. Like, comment, and subscribe for more intriguing insights.